Hey friends, welcome to the Mad Painter Show. With the title, The Richest Man, the Wisest Man, you would think Solomon would know it all. But later, he discovered that all was done in vain. Why? Why? How did he even come to this point of view? Well, we have Psalms 127. Unless the Lord builds the house, those who build it labor in vain. Now, friend, when this word came to Solomon, he either may not have paid attention to it, like it may have came to him at his high point and it was like, yes, wisdom. Or it may have came to him later on in life, because the man had built a whole empire. He built a whole, because in that scripture, we're talking about a house. This man built a whole empire and labored in vain. He has a whole bunch of scriptures talking about how this is in vain and that is in vain and this is in vain. And guess what? That must have really hit him hard when those words returned to him. And it was like, man, I did all this in vain, because Psalms 127 was written by him. It's so freeing. This is the secret that Solomon, he didn't know. He found out later on, but it was like, in the midst of building, you kind of want to find that out in the building of the foundation. When you get that start in the blueprint before we even contract workers. Okay, I digress. I get too far. So the question is, what is your secret thing or things that you are seeking? Now, I want you to think about this, friend, because are you seeking worldly wisdom? Are you seeking godly wisdom? Now, I get we have all of these secret forms, colors, structures, shapes, etc., that lead us and guide us into this thing or knowledge of God. And when we know these numbers, parameters, etc., we have the wisdom of God. We understand how and why he went about doing these things. But is love actually involved in that whole situationship of discovery? This is the one thing we discovered that Solomon didn't know. But this is a thing. We're not judging Solomon. We're not looking at him like, oh man, that brother messed up with all that stuff he did that he wasn't supposed to do. Solomon is our learning lesson. He knew a lot of things of wisdom, but what the one thing, he was blessed with it. But the one thing, a few things that I paid attention to, as far as even with his father David. Now, David was friends with God. But this whole friendship thing ain't really passed down to the son, because, think about it. How many of y'all actual friends with y'all parents' friends, unless they just adopted him and became part of the family, and it's like they TT somebody or uncle somebody, and you actually have developed your own relationship with them? Because if you didn't develop your own relationship, you'd be like, yeah, what up? And don't get too much further than that. But here, David had a relationship with God, and it was a friendship. And David showed me that, we could be friends with our friends all day and still may not tell them everything and still may not be vulnerable with them. And so, foundation-wise and psychologically, it had me looking at David like, David, even though he was praying over these situations with these battles, these war situations, he still had war at home, war in the house, war with his own children. So this is where the relationship comes in at, because David starts this foundation thing. Again, this isn't a judgment, because if we later on look at David and how this connection goes, Jesus is a part with David. And it's just like, it's so dope when you dive deep into that. But right now we're talking about Solomon and looking at how David may have had this one, had his relationship with God. But Solomon didn't have that. But there was a thing, because as I reflected on Solomon, I didn't really go into depth with the whole Solomon thing, because I'm a friend. We're talking as a friend, and anything that I'm talking about biblically, I'm doing it mad painter style. But I looked at how here Solomon is a king. He's a king. His father was a king. I mean, we got a whole bunch of stuff being passed down. I was just making sure I wasn't kicking the cat. It was a whole bunch of information passed down, knowledge, wisdom, etc. Stuff, whatever. But, and often too, and looking at us and how we ask God, we're asking God this, asking for that, asking for this, ask. Some of us don't even want to ask God. We asking other things, and it's just like, hey, I heard that you give me $5 million. Anyway, we'll ask. Some of us are afraid to ask, but I'm going all into this asking thing because this whole thing with asking God something. But God asked Solomon something. So, peep game, right? Peep game, this mad painter style. Here. I mean, because we are all so caught up in titles and etc. Here you have a king. Talking. Or he may have been either preparing to be a king. I don't know his point, where his title was at that point. But right now, we're just going to say the man was a king. Okay? Because that was my mind. He was a king. So, he was a king. So, here, God, the creator, is asking Solomon a question. And it's like, now, hold on. I mean, God asks people questions all throughout the thing. I mean, even in the beginning, he asked Adams, what y'all doing? Where y'all going? What y'all hiding for? What you hiding for? He asked. And so it's like, Here, God is asking questions. He is inspiring a conversation. And in looking at ranking, we got a king speaking to a creator. And I mean, if you going by the title of God, and I mean, a whole bunch of people know who you is. You going by the title of God, I feel his like king right here, and God is, you can't even see the throne. You looking at the bottom of them feet. It's like, hey. I mean, it's just in my imagination station. But here, if I, like, this whole visual of this came, like, because when you ask, like, think about when you're texting someone, right? And you're asking them a question, you're in expectation of an answer. And it's like, holy cannoli, God asked a question. And that is like in putting him in expectation of waiting on a response. And even still, it's like, here, he's listening, he's present, he's here now. Wait a minute now. Now, with that thing with Solomon, I get the rest of the story with Solomon. All of that was for a purpose. It is for a purpose. But in connection with the purpose, God is also showing him. I mean, I know Solomon is the main character in that particular story, but no, real talk, God is the main character in the entire, like, it's the author and the finisher situation. And it's like, yeah, even though it's like I'm talking about these people, this is really what I'm talking about. It's like how we got this connection and how I'm really interested in you and want to have this relationship with you. And bam, we come back to Solomon. So here he's responding to God. But that point is showing me that Solomon was being seen, heard, and answered. God was listening to him. And I mean, God was listening to Cain. God was listening to Adams. And here, God is listening. So, I mean, there are a whole bunch of other things listening, and this is why we want to look at our heart and see what it is that we're actually seeking for and what we're asking about. Because, I mean, Imagination station here, friends. Imagination station. We talk about God's hands, but what about his heart? What about his heart? What what does God's heart feel? What does he think about? What does he love? Like what makes that heart pump and like, yeah, that's like relationship. Like that's okay, we have Solomon. And I mean, yeah, the rich thing, but let's and I mean, oftentimes we'll look at the woman's situation. And considering the domestic violence that's been going on quite a bit on my side of town, I'm not sure what's happening on your side of town, but it's been quite a few things. And it's not just looking at men and how men abuse women, friend, brother, because I mean, sisters, you in there too. But brothers, Norbit. Eddie Murphy might not feel like that's one of his favorite movies. I mean, Eddie Murphy got quite a list on my list. I appreciate Eddie Murphy as an actor and a comedian. But Norbit. When Norbit first came out, I'm going to get back to Solomon. When Norbit first came out, it was the situation as far as how it was being made fun of a plus size woman. But the whole fact was neglected how a man was being abused in this. And I mean, I get the visuals and that, and of course, it was to be made to be funny, but for real, Norbit was abused, and it took him to have to man up. And anyway, this is not about Norbit, this is about Solomon, but it's still a thing as far as in relationships and how important love in being in consideration of love, because I'm thinking about my wording and my verbiage on this here. But when we are including God in on everything, even if we think we know, let's start asking him questions. Let's make space for him. Because here is Solomon. Whatever title you want to give Solomon, it took Solomon to fall on that behind to realize, you know what? Maybe that wasn't the wisest choice after all. So, this relationship, whatever it is that you're interested in, include God in on it. Ask him about it. And thinking of being the creator of all things, okay? Like I don't even want to get into, we just gonna look at it as a body, right? And if God is the head and everything else that he created is a body or a connection to his body, like my hands, we mentioned earlier, as far as in, if God got hands, why can't we also look at his heart and see what's happening in that heart area? And so in looking at relationships and things that we are interested in, Solomon has showed us we could be so wise and be so powerful and so rich, but when we don't have love, we can forget a lot of the things that God has told us to kind of steer us out of the way of our downfall. And so it's and in love. So we come back to this the women thing and looking at how Solomon didn't know love. He had other things in mind, but he did not know love. And the benefit of seeing how he didn't know love is how he went about collecting partners. Now, if you got a whole bunch of yolks, I mean, you could go from egg yolks to the yolk that's being on and around your neck and you're being trained for something. Would you pick a yolk? Pick a yolk. But if you got all these different yokes, somewhere it's not gonna be even. It's gonna be a whole bunch of unequalness there. A whole bunch of unequalness. Whole bunch of, because somebody is gonna throw it off. So, and looking at the relationship that he had with various women, many countries or whatever in connection with the women, came in confusion. When we have this relationship with love itself, we don't get all caught up in the greed and all caught up in the, yeah, that look real good. Yeah, that'll help me get XYZ. Because we're so busy looking at our desires and not what God has for us. So again, Solomon, David, everybody, even the things that you feel like that you have slipped and fell at, or you've made a mistake at, or whatever, it's all for a purpose. But I mean, if you keep on going and you don't want to include God in on this thing, then baby, it's going to be in vain. But once we are including him in, this being real about stuff, what it is that you're seeking out, and bringing it to the table with God. Like, you know what, God? I'm thinking about this. I want to know about this. What do you say about this? See, he's not just going to give you the information. It's not just, yeah, this how I did that. This how I did that. It's, he shows you. He chose you through love, because if people, the cat, I'm sorry. If here it is, I'm just giving you information. It's all surface information. And it's just, yeah, it's helping you make moves. It's helping you do this, that, and the other. It's still something that you're missing if you don't really know what it took for me to put my hands into it, what it took for me to speak something, what it took for me to gain the understanding of something. Because when you actually go through the process of a particular thing, and it may be something that at the time you didn't know to ask me, or at the time you weren't prepared for, or this blind spot. Because in these blind spots, there is darkness. So in this dark area, if there is no love, if there isn't someone to walk with you in this walk, and it's just all about what you desire, the power, the authority, the title, the control. Friend, you'll just get caught up in all that mess yourself and be... It's like it's so much darkness there. It's overwhelming. It's hard to find your way out. And whatever it was that was giving you the answers at first, it's like, oh, you thought you had control of me just because you had some object or something. And even in knowing the names or having some kind of awareness of a particular thing, like even with God, people try to use the word of God to make God do something. Now, honey, in doing more research on Satan, Lucifer, whatever, on the dark, maleficent forces, the wicked, the like, in doing more research on that, in considering there is no love there, and there are particular entities that are willing to grant you material goods if you do this act, or if you do this, that, and the other. It may be pleasing for now, but it would definitely create suffering later on. And there is no help in this relationship. When you experience dark times, God lets you know that you are there. Lets you know that he is there. He shines the light in the darkness. Just as in the physical, he will shine a light, or because that light may not always look like this, but the light will come in a word. The light will come in comfort. The light will come in peace. He is your comforter. He is your peace. He is your provider. When he shows you that he is and does those things, it makes a difference. And it is not like we're going to him and rubbing the lamp. This is what I want. In the relationship, we are seeking his will, what it is that he's interested in. This is in seeking his heart. Honey, this is a mind blowing. Like in reading Solomon, especially like he goes through various experiences, and when you get sensitive to it, you'll feel, I don't know, I feel like is that Ecclesiastes or something, and where he's writing, but where he's talking about all of this in vain, and all of this is time for everything. And this, I feel like he was so depressed because it hit the fan. Like, so you mean to tell me I did all of that? And it's just, I was just leaning on my own understanding, and look at where I am right now. And it's, and so I feel like he was expressing that, like, because he got the revelation, like, I was so wise, but yet so stupid. And so in looking at, again, and coming back to the 1,000 women and understanding how there is an unequally yokedness there, honey. And this is for both men and women. This is not just because Solomon was a man and he wanted all that good cat and this, that, and the other. No, friend. It's women out there that want to take that control too. And it's so, in working on gaining power, they're tired of being, this is how Solomon got in that position, because I'm tired of being manipulated by a man, and a man telling her what to do, and her rebelling, and like, so now I done figured out how you operate, and since I know you won't do this, that, and the other, I need to operate like this and overpower you or get you to believe, etc., etc., etc. And so this is not just about a man thing. Friend, we're in this together. Unity. So even with women, no matter how smart you are, honey, that don't mean poo stain if we not in this relationship, because the relationship is what helps. So Solomon shows it doesn't matter how smart you are. And what's dude that had all the hair? What's that brother name? And he was messing with Samson. I was about to say he was messing with Delilah. See, it goes to show, like, you can be the smartest thing on that end of the spectrum and the stupidest thing on that end of the spectrum. Your private parts can get you in some trouble. So, friend, in this relationship and in love, man, love make you change the game up. Boy, I'm telling you, because I know from experience. This point in time was like, you feel that energy, and this, you get the plotting and planning and leaning on your own understanding, and then when you get to where you imagine where you wanted to be and all the stuff you write, I just want to be in so-and-so arms. And then when you get in so-and-so arms, you be like, Lord, why am I here? This wasn't like what I thought, man, and I don't even want to, and then it's like, then they want to start acting funny, but love, I'm telling you, Fred, I'm just now really understanding love songs, and it's like, Lord. So, friend, Solomon, yeah, Solomon done been the wisest, but they ain't saying nothing about Solomon having all the love and how loving he was. And he was just so loving. And he was rich in love. So, I mean, we may think of love being a weakness. Boy, love, my friend, is a power. It is a power. Power. I had to write it out for you on my imaginary whatever board, color board that is. When you understand the power of love and you receive it, you experience the presence of it. It makes you a better businessman. It makes you a better friend. It makes you a better... I mean, everybody might not be in agreement with it, but if you're listening to me and probably don't want to be bothering me, you'll find out in the future what I'm talking about. Because I still love you. It's just ain't nobody got time for that mess. That's why you got to take your time with God. Spend time with God. Be a better friend. Be a better cat person, a community person, whatever it is, a better partner, friend. Let's get in this relationship. Let's seek out the heart of God and see what it's like building this thing with God. Because we done already learned from the wisest and the richest man what can happen when we ain't got that love in connection with this building. Because baby, you doing it in vain. I love you guys. God loves you even more. Find out why. Experience why. Because baby, he love you. He got you. Unity. Until next time.